Well, let's try that again. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the very first episode of Low Coding. What are we? Second breakfast? Second breakfast. Coincidentally enough, I've not even had first breakfast. So I've had lots of coffee, though, if you can't tell. But welcome to the show. For those of you that this is the first time you're tuning into the new series of live streams, this is a third installment. You might have seen advertisements for Earls, who's doing Low Coding 11Zs, where he showed us how he uses Gen AI to help him build. We had Travis Tolson last week that showed us Clayude or Claude, or however you would like to say Claude, and how he uses that in his development work as well. We also have our unofficial live coding happy hour, so check them out. Those are run by a couple of our MVPs. But as for second breakfast, this show is going to be focused a lot on the low code building tools that we have in the platform, just because that's how I roll. I really enjoy working in those tools like UI Builder, Mobile App Builder, which is what we're going to be seeing today, as well as Workflow Studio and a whole host of others. We'll do some conversational coding later on in a later stream, but today we are going to be focusing on Mobile App Builder. And so to do that, I brought on our lovely David Murch, who is one of our product managers here at ServiceNow. So David, you want to do a quick intro of yourself?
Absolutely. Thanks. So as Kristy mentioned, my name is David Murch. I'm a product manager on our mobile platform team. I've been with ServiceNow a little over 6 years now, and been on the mobile team the entire time, mainly focusing on our low code mobile app building tools. So looking forward to working today and building some cool stuff on the mobile app.
Excellent, excellent. Well, leading into that, we'll talk a little about what we're working on. So, David, what are we working on today specifically?
So for those that might be familiar, and I think it's even been mentioned on some of the other live streams, at Knowledge, we released a mobile application called CreatorCon C3, which was a way for folks in the community to get an AI avatar, and then we turned that into a collectible card, which could then folks at the Knowledge conference could then go around. There was some check-in locations where you could go scan your location, say I'm here. You could collect other people's cards, share your cards, and we turned it into a game. So the mobile app that we used for that is what we're going to be working on today, and we want to make some updates to it because I believe the plan is to continue that experience at some of the other community events that are happening throughout the rest of this year.
Yeah. Speaking of CreatorCon India coming up in the beginning of July, and we'll start using this app again there as well as our World Forum events. But there were some learnings that we had at Knowledge, as David mentioned. And so these are a few of the things that we brought out of Knowledge that we wanted to take a look at and build into the mobile app. So David, I'll go ahead and put you on screen here, and then we'll start working down. What are we going to start on first?
So there's a couple things that we wanted to do. We have in the app today, and I'm using an Android emulator here for anybody that is curious how I've got this on my computer. In the app today, we've got a couple different primary tabs in the navigation, one of which is a Help and More tab that has information on getting started with the game. And we realized that was kind of buried deep inside the mobile app. Especially for people that were just picking up the app and getting started. We had a lot of folks coming up to us in Knowledge saying, hey, I see this game that's going on. How do I get into it? And we were kind of pointing them at a QR code and saying, download the app, and then you can start playing. And so what we realized, I think, is that some of this how to play and the FAQ was just buried too deep into the app for those folks as they're getting started. So we want to move that forward in the app to make it a little more discoverable for people when they get started. But then I personally think we should try and figure out a way to maybe show it when people first get in and then hide it once they've been playing for a while and kind of have the gist of it.
Yeah, I like that.
And then another thing that we want to do is, again, we had at Knowledge, we had physical printed cards that people could get. So we were printing these cards that people could come pick up, and that was super popular. But we found out, in the heat of it all, that the process took a while to get the cards printed, cut, sleeved, and then ready for people to pick up. And so we had a lot of people just coming up and asking, what's the status of my card? And to a certain extent for the digital version, but mainly for the physical version. So again, we want to add in a capability in the mobile app to let you know what your status is, right? Because the process you get your picture taken. We give you options. We generate options for you to choose from. That then gets submitted and approved, and then your card gets generated. So, add in an experience here in the mobile app that kind of shows the status of your card and where you are in that process.
Excellent.
So I think we'll do the moving the how to play forward in the app. I think we could probably start there because it's existing content that we're just maybe moving around a little bit.
Okay.
So that sound good?
Yep. And this is this instance was upgraded to Xanadu patch 9, so you should have the new mobile app builder here as well.
Very cool.
So you should be good to go.
All right. So first thing I'm going to do, so this is the mobile app builder, welcome screen, home screen. For those that may not be familiar, you just get there by searching for mobile app builder from your instance. I've got it favorited, but it's here in just the instance drop-down menu. And when you open it up, this is what you see. And we start by picking the scope we want to work in. And everything we've been doing in the mobile app is in our CreatorCon C3 mobile scope. And then once you get in the mobile app builder, you have all of your content here, your screens, your different visuals, actions, data, all that good stuff. So again, we want to take, I think, Kristy, we should take this getting started section, and we can carve out this individual section and drop it into the main home screen. But I think we should also be looking at this from the perspective of somebody that has just downloaded the app and hasn't started playing the game, right? And we have different content that's visible to folks depending on how far along they are in the onboarding process.
Yep.
So I'm going to go ahead and impersonate a different user, a different version of myself. And what we should see is, yeah, so you see that this user doesn't have any content. They haven't been assigned to a team. So you're seeing a different visual. And I think this is where we should be showing kind of that how to get started content because the person hasn't gotten started.
Yeah. I like
so
it.
What I'm going to do first, I think, is I'm going to open up in mobile app builder. I'm going to open up this screen, which is our C3 home screen. You can see here in the different sections, we have the My Team section, which is hidden now because this user doesn't have a team. The recently collected cards, which you see, and that's empty. Share and collect, which is the options here to show card and to scan, and then the different stats and shortcuts and things of that nature. So how are we going to go about showing content here for somebody that is kind of new to the game? And the easiest way to do that, as I was saying earlier, would be to take this getting started section and then just add it in here. But I think we need to think through where to put it and then where is it when you kind of get into the game and you've got other things going on. Because with mobile platform, we can show and hide these sections based on user role and I think user criteria.
Criteria too, yeah. Yeah, I think that was the thing we added.
Yeah.
Somewhat recently.
And so we could use that mechanism to show and hide things. I think one of the downsides of user roles is for that to actually do something in the mobile app, you have to log out and log back in. And we tried looking at that at the Knowledge Conference, right? And I don't think that worked very well because how often are people logging out and logging back in? Yeah.
Yeah, it was funny when you mentioned it to somebody, like we had to add a role. They're like, oh, I get it. I'll log out and log back in. So you could tell who'd been around for a while.
Yeah. And quite honestly, like I haven't done anything with user criteria yet. I've looked at it briefly in the past, but I haven't actually built anything with it. So I don't know if user criteria will work for this or not.
Yeah, you can use roles in user criteria. You can do it by location. I think you can even script user criteria.
Okay, well, so that might be where you're going to be doing some of the lifting then, because as you know, I'm not a coder. I'm a product manager.
That's okay. That's why we make a good team.
Yeah. So I think let's just do the easy thing first, and I'm going to end impersonation here. because I think it's just being able to see everything helps.
Mhm.
You know, the easy thing is to come in, go to our launcher sections, which again, like these items here are mapped directly to the items you see on the screen. So if I want to move that getting started section onto this screen and, you know, put it between the banner and the recently collected cards, I would come in, hit the choose button here, and just search for that section. Getting started, apply that, and then we got to set our order field to drop it in where we want it. So if we do that and save, then you see that section in here, right? And what this section has is there's 2 videos that I created before Knowledge that just kind of give overviews. There's a link to our how to play web page and a link to the FAQ. So I think some good stuff, but again, it's like, cool, super helpful for new folks. Once I'm into the game and I've collected a couple cards and I know what I'm doing, do I really need to see this anymore? So that would be I think our next step there is just figuring out how we want to hide it when it's time to hide it.
By chance, sorry, I took me off the screen so we could see the bottom. It was kind of, video was blocking. Do we have
Gotcha.
Places where achievements, because I could see achievements still being useful for people that are playing the game. So if they want to really, like, you know, maximize their score and get all the achievements, collect everything, I wonder if that's somewhere, if we should add that, if we're going to take away the how to play after a while. I don't know, just thought.
No, I like that, like, because, you know, down here we have the scores, but you're right, we don't have anything that's obvious about, well, how am I getting these scores? But I think, I think that's covered in the FAQ, isn't it?
Yeah, it's covered. I know that there's a whole host of achievements that you can see, that you can then look at how you get those achievements, and then I'll have to talk to Earl about that.
Yeah.
We do have a question from someone in the audience. Does Mobile Studio come with core ITSM or CSM ServiceNow, or is that an add-on to ServiceNow we would need to purchase?
Okay, so it's a yes and the mobile builder and the mention there is Mobile Studio. That's one of our older products. Mobile App Builder is what we're looking at today, and that's our current builder product. It is integrated with ServiceNow Studio, and so, like, you know, we've got names all over the place. So I'm not gonna
preaching to the choir.
Yeah, I'm not gonna harp too much on that. But Mobile App Builder, this tool is free for all customers, and it's pre-installed on all instances. It is a store. We distribute through the store, so, you know, a lot of times, like if you upgrade to the latest family version, you'll get a version of Mobile App Builder with that, but there probably is a newer version available from the store. So I'd always recommend, you know, checking that and making sure that you're on the latest version. The Mobile App Builder, free, available to everybody, pre-installed on all instances.
Excellent.
The question about like ITSM and CSM, those are separate plugins that our business units build to create out-of-the-box workflows, out-of-the-box experiences for our customers to use. Those are licensed, but if you have the ITSM license, the ITSM mobile license comes along with it. There's not additional cost or licensing. Those scopes can all be opened up in Mobile App Builder and edited. So Mobile App Builder can be used for creating custom stuff, but also editing the out-of-the-box apps.
Excellent.
Yep.
Nice. Okay. Great.
All right. So I want to take a look at this one now with the user that doesn't have a profile, kind of that getting started. So this is what it would look like at the very beginning. Like if you haven't started playing the game, again, I think that works.
Yeah.
So this is all good. I think it's just a matter of, okay, what do we do once you are an experienced game player, and you know, how do we handle that? So
okay,
we could experiment with user criteria, or
okay,
another thought just real quick, let me go back to that.
I will look at the user criteria over here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember all the different things that you can do in user criteria. So you can specify users, groups, roles, advanced scripting, different companies, locations, departments. And there's the option to say they have to match every single condition in user criteria. Would we want to?
So there's nothing for like saying like a query off of a table though.
That's the advanced. That would be the scripting piece of it.
Yeah, because I think that's the best approach, right? Is like you've collected a certain number of cards or your score is at a certain level, something like that to me is what I think would make the most sense for when you would want to hide that.
Okay. All right. I can work on that part.
And what I will do is, because that if we do that, right, if we apply that to the user criteria on this UI section, it would apply to this UI section on this screen, as well as the same UI section on this screen, right? And I don't think we want to hide. I think we want this information to always be available on the Help and More tab. So what I'll do is I'll basically just create a duplicate of this UI section so that we can user criteria the one that's on the home screen and leave the one on Help and More as always on.
That makes sense. Okay.
Now let's see.
Let's see, have players with more than. Oh, we have a suggestion too from David. One other area for possible improvement: if a QR code is scanned with an outside QR code scanner or camera, have it recognize that and open an app. Boy, oh boy, did we try to do that. That would be the deep linking side of it. And that's definitely on the roadmap. We did attempt to do that prior to Knowledge and get that working. We just ran out of runway to get it done for Knowledge, but definitely something that we want to work on, no doubt.
Yeah, and that I think that requires leveraging some improvements that are currently being made to mobile platform. In the Zurich release, and potentially more in the Australia release.
Nice. Yeah, and David also pointed out he has a QR code scanning app that retains history. So when the internet is spotty, it's great. One of the things that we did with this app too is enable offline. So there's a built-in offline mode in our mobile app, so that if you do go offline, if internet is spotty, you can continue to scan, and it will store all of that locally. And then when you go back online, it pushes all that back up to the instance. Pretty sure that's how all that works. Because we knew that conference Wi-Fi sometimes is not ideal for what we were doing. So we had that thought out as well. Yeah, Earl, we did really try. We'll get there. We'll get there. Definitely get there. All right. So you're duplicating. What do we want the criteria to be? C3 players with more than a number of points, more than a number of scans, because we could count the number of scans they have. That might be the easiest way.
Yeah, and I think those two things kind of get you the same end result, right? Because scans lead to points.
Yeah. So we'll do like 25 scans.
Got it.
Right. Okay. Boy, and I'm going to have to look up what user criteria expects from a script. Is it an answer? Do you just return true or false? Hey, welcome everybody that's joining. We have a beginner SN Dev here. Welcome. Glad you were able to join us.
All right, so what I've done is I just created, the first thing I did is I actually renamed the getting started section. I renamed that to how to play, because this is going to continue living on Help and More. And I think, for that context, how to play makes sense here, because getting started, I think, makes a lot of sense as far as like the content title here. So
Mm-hmm.
I just renamed the original Getting Started to How to Play. And then I created a new icon section, is what we call these in mobile. And I named that Getting Started. And then I just went in and selected all the same shortcuts that were in there. So it'll be the same. Basically, it's identical content, just two different sections with two different titles.
And easier for us to tell which one is which.
Correct. I didn't want to name them the same, and then you're like, okay, well, which is which, right?
Yeah.
But also, it's important. Again, this is kind of like a mobile quirk, if you will, or just something to know about mobile. You know, the title that you use here is what shows up on screen. And so that's where it's like having a both name Getting Started to keep them the same on screen then creates a headache when you're here in the builder trying to figure out which is which. But you also don't want to just say like Getting Started 1, Getting Started 2, because that's actually what you see on screen.
Yeah, that's not what you want. I've run into that before. I've noticed that because I was I did my own like dabbling in the mobile app builder, and I was making the mobile app, I think, for the Make Farm, if you guys are familiar with that. But I was having trouble with like trying to figure out like where the heck are these names coming from, because it didn't make any sense. And I finally was like, oh yeah, well, I should probably put better names here, because I was getting like the out of the box, like whatever default names they were giving them.
Yeah.
Good grief. Okay. What should, while you're working on that, I'm still working on what the output should be for user criteria scripts. B for a criteria script. Oh, bless you, David. Still working on UI Builder. That's going to be a topic of one of our streams in the near future, I think, as well. Yeah. It's come a long way, I will say. When I first started using UI Builder back in the day, like when it first came out, it was a little rough, but it's come a long way. I'm a little less averse to using it. Let's see. Script should be pulling value true or false. Answer. So it wants an answer variable. Got it. At least that's what AI says. It wants an answer variable. You changed around the layout? Oh, nice. You got them all on one row.
Yeah, we did that originally, but the challenge here, and this is actually something I can show if my emulator will play nice. Another consideration for when you're working in mobile is all this stuff will scale up and scale down depending on the screen size you're on. And on a smaller screen, if I remember correctly, we'll see when this boots up. But on a smaller screen, like you only see 3 icons, and there's not necessarily an indication that there's a 4th one there to scroll to.
Oh, I see. I see. Okay. Got it. Yeah, we got a question about what we're using like user criteria for in this case from Arscalis. I'm sorry if I butchered that. I try really hard not to. In this case, what we're using user criteria for is we have a get started session on the home screen of the mobile app that we're working on. And we want to conditionally show that get started section when somebody has started to play the game. So they have more than like 25 scans. We want to hide it once they've gotten into the game and gotten the gist of playing the game. We just want to hide that section. And so we're going to try to use user criteria in that case to count the number of scans they have and then either show or hide that particular section. Oh, that's a good point, Earl, with the mobile app builder. Once he wrapped his head around the taxonomy, he's able to contribute pretty steadily, making a native app. In the end was pretty easy. I agree. Pretty easy.
Always love hearing that.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember when we first got the native mobile app and we were building inside of ServiceNow Studio, instead of having this really nice mobile app builder, I never could make sense of what we name things like screen segments, and it just didn't make any sense to me. It took me a long time to really figure out what all of that meant. And I think we still use that same nomenclature in the background.
We do.
But we've made it easier to kind of understand how things tied together here. And you'll see that too. Yeah.
We tried to do that back in Rome, because you're right. The the joke I always make is that working in mobile platform is actually very easy once you've earned your mobile platform PhD. Like once you've learned our language and you know what a syssg list screen and a syssg item stream and all that sort of stuff. Once you've learned all that,
An applet. What's an applet?
yeah, precisely. So
yeah.
we back in the Rome time frame, we went through and like we did rename a bunch of stuff. It's the table names are still the same in the background. So like it's syssg applet launcher is what you would call this screen, but we on the front end we updated it so it's a launcher screen,
yeah,
or a list screen, things like that.
Yeah.
Let's see, why is do we not have an icon on the FAQ and FAQ? There's a little troubleshooting here.
Oh, good. That gives me time to write a script.
Yeah. So yeah, we're
user criteria and what I need to do for user criteria. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm seeing that there's no icon showing up on the FAQ shortcut. I've got an icon record, but I don't see my preview.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
That's no bueno.
Yeah. So it's cool to go to docs.servicenow.com while we're on here, right?
Totally do it.
Yeah.
No problem.
Go to our mobile icons documentation, and we have this mobile icon reference, which gives you all the information on configuring icons, but also the list of available icons. So we're using an icon from buttons, from the buttons family, which is Actions font. So we're looking at this font family, and we have one in here that's okay. I'm going to cheat a little bit because I want to see what icon that actually is, because we have it.
There's no cheating in live streams. It's okay.
Well, we have it. It's like labeled as FAQ in here, but I'm not familiar with an FAQ icon, and I don't see it in our list of icons.
Interesting.
And
I think you can use, isn't it Font Awesome? Can't you do that? Isn't that what you're using?
Some of them, yeah. Some of the Font Awesomes will come through.
Can't you use just any of them though? Up to a certain version, like 5. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't, and that's the thing, is I don't remember what version it was. You're right. Like back when we originally did the implementation of mobile platform, we were using Font Awesome, and then we started using our own. So we do support Font Awesome up to a certain version, and I just don't remember.
David's asking the question, make sure the color is correct, so it's not the same color as the background.
Yes, and you do that. I can touch on that as well. But you do that by using color variables rather than hard-coded colors.
Oh, nice.
But I think we might be stumbling onto the fact that we just had a bad configuration even in Knowledge, because I'm looking at it on my iPhone, and I see a question mark. There's a question mark icon, but that question mark icon is our default. You don't have a valid icon configured icon.
But it works for FAQs.
It does work for FAQs on iPhone, but on Android,
maybe not so much.
Yeah. So,
funny.
So we'll find a different, because I think we have a question mark icon. I'm fairly certain. We can use this question circle one. So real quick, we'll show how to update an icon. So this is something that's like long been on our to-do list, is to make icon configuration a visual experience.
That would be really cool.
Yeah. Trust me, it's in the backlog. It's in the backlog. So now we're going to be using the Now Mobile Icons font family. So we got to grab that, because this value has to change, and then we need, where did that go? Question circle. So the name is question circle. The value is F059.
Because that's totally
That's the right.
rememberable.
Yeah. And we had the right value. So I think someone was thinking about this. A question circle. I also need to find out why I'm not seeing my preview here. But that should fix it.
Oh, that field doesn't exist in scan activity. What did we name those? Collector? We got a couple work streams going on here.
There, now we have our icon. So we took care of that. And whatever you've done has, if you've done, why did that go away? Because you haven't built out the user criteria all the way yet, have you?
No, I was just finishing up the script, but then my field name was wrong for the scanner, so I've got to go and figure that out. Like, I think it's collector. I think that's what we named it because it was like collected and collector. Yep, collector.
Got it. I got myself confused for a second because I had changed the orientation to vertical, and so all of a sudden I thought like our shortcut section was way up at the top, but it's just I changed the layout here.
Ah, I see.
So we want that to be horizontal.
Well, I have more than 25 scans, don't I?
I'm sure you do in production, but
oh, Dev,
how much stuff have we created and deleted? And
probably not that many. So maybe I should change my number for my testing here. You are correct. Thank you for that. Who has the most scans? Oh, me. Here we go. Show matching. I have 11. Womp womp. Let's see if that works. Greater than or equal to. Man, we really need a way to share multiple screens on
that would be nice.
On StreamYard at once, because it could show, well, people have a hard time figuring out what to look at. What do I even look at?
So I think in this one, to save space, we're going to go just with that horizontal layout. Why is that not updating now?
Oh, it's getting 0. It's not finding me at all. Oh, that looks pretty good.
What's going on
with that list, right?
Oh, here's a little behind the scenes thing also. So we're getting this error because what I did was I had it in vertical. I saved it with 3 columns. That's how we got this layout. And then I went back to horizontal, and we've got a business rule in the background that validates that if you're on horizontal, you shouldn't have any columns configured. And again, this is another thing I need to have cleaned up in Mobile App Builder here, because we should automatically be resetting that in the background, and we're not.
Or not take that into account, sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotcha. That makes sense.
There. So we got the smaller layout, because again, I think even on the small phone, you can still see if there's another icon there to give you that indicator. Okay, cool. I got my stuff done.
Oh, geez. No pressure, Kristy. It's fine. It's fine. Oh, there we go. It was just, I guess my user ID in Dev is not, get user ID for me logged in it's different. My account must have changed. That's okay in Dev. So it should return false for me. One last try, let's see, and I'll share my my script and see if it works. Answer, it needs to return an answer. Thank you, ChatGPT. Okay. So while David's been working on the mobile side of it, I was putting together a user criteria. And let me share. Well, actually, you can look at it. You want to apply that user criteria to the oh, I don't want it as 11. We want 25, right? Well, if you want to test it, let's just do 10.
Yeah, it's fine. Okay, so what, C3 players more than 25? Perfect.
C3 players more than 25. Yep, that's
Yep.
our user criteria.
Cool. And again, just for anybody that missed it, just down here, I'm on the icon section itself. So this getting started section, I switched us from user role to user criteria access and hit choose, and it's right at the top of the list. So we'll apply that. And I'm guessing that my primary user here, there we go, it's gone. We can still see it here on the help and more, but on the home screen here, it's gone underneath this user. But if I go back, do my impersonation again. And again, for those who may not be familiar with mobile, to do impersonation, you go to settings, and then you just tap on, if you're an admin, you have the privileges, you just tap on your username there, and impersonation pops up from the bottom. I have a version of myself with no profile. But I don't see the getting started section. So we might have a little bit of troubleshooting to do there.
That's probably me. That's probably something that I did incorrectly, but we'll see.
But I mean, we know it worked because it took it away.
Yeah. Which user are you using?
This is a user that I created specifically when we were trying to figure out the camera, the import, or I'm sorry, the intake process. So this user has no profile, no team. It's just a user.
Ah, so they don't have, they wouldn't be in here at all, then is what you're saying.
Well,
no scan records.
No, they're there. I'll pull the user up.
Okay. Oh, if you click your team banner on the home page, the My Team icon at the bottom doesn't light up. We'll have to check that out, David. Thanks for pointing that out.
Yeah, and actually, I can explain that. So this is the user.
NP? Okay.
Yeah, NP, and they're not, as for no profile, and they're not connected to a profile. Well, that's and okay.
Oh, do you want to know what it is?
What's that?
The scanner is not the user. The scanner is the profile, and I'm using the wrong. Gosh darn it. Okay, we can fix that.
So apparently other people have scanned me a bunch of times, and that's why it went away.
Yeah, well, yeah, okay. I'm pretty sure that's right, because it's not, scanner is a reference to the profile table.
Correct.
Yes, and I am using scanner as a reference to the user table, which is not what we want.
Yeah.
That'll do it. Okay, so we've got to look up the collector's user account first. So let's do that.
Yeah. And then to answer the question about, I think the comment was when you tap on the banner here, it takes you to the My Team page, but the icon down here doesn't light up. And that is because both go to the same destination, right? So if I tap on My Team, same endpoint, but what you'll notice is when I'm coming from here, when I'm coming from the home screen, I have this back button, which takes me back to the home screen, versus if I'm on the tab, I've gone straight there. So it's a little bit of a nuance, I guess, but it's just the navigation inside the mobile application. We're navigating you to the screen, not the tab in the navigation bar, if that makes sense. You know, the fact that this screen lives in both locations the screen, it's the same content being accessed through two different pathways, if that makes sense.
I think so. I'm going to use a little trick that Mr. Alan Andreas introduced us to last week, I think it was actually. So apparently when you do a glide record query, you can actually feed user.query attributes. And I never knew that you could do that. You could feed it the field and just like you do an add query if you're just doing like one. You can totally do that, which I thought was pretty neat. So I should probably share my screen. But
yeah, I was just saying, while you're working on that,
my coding skills are very sad, but it's okay. I can do it. It's a few iterations for me to do that. Let me share my screen. Oh, that's why I wasn't doing it before. My Google profile, I'm using a different one. So let's go open up that one. It's going to make me log in. That's not my password. Obviously not my password either. Cool. I can't log in on this side for some reason, so it won't let me share. So let me see if I can share my screen on this side. Although my screen is gigantic, so it might be an eye chart to read, but we'll see. Let's see, share again. Oh, there we go, share window. I was trying to share a Chrome tab, and because I run StreamYard in a different profile, it's only letting me share the ones in that particular profile. So I'll just do it this way, through window. What a mess. So this is going to need some refactoring a bit. Let me share my screen in that one. There we go. Oh, that's tiny. That's a little better, yeah. So what I was saying before I realized that we had to look at the profile, not the user. This is the way I'd written it. It was referencing a user instead of the actual profile. So instead of using the user record, I need to find the profile for that user and then query the scan activity for that particular user. Does that make sense? So we got to find their profile first. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll take that off. This was me in the middle of trying to edit it, and now I'm sharing my screen, so it'd be good. No doubt, Kevin, it wouldn't be a live stream if issues didn't occur live. That's kind of the whole beauty of these things, right? That makes them kind of fun. Okay, so what we want to do, our profile table is, this is our profile table. So when I do this, I usually will like put the profile table in here. That's the one we're going to query. We'll do that and we'll put that in there. That's our profile table. And then what I was saying before about what Alan had discovered is that when you're using query, I will change this so nobody yells at me, gr profile. I don't want to keep it gr. When you do a query, you can actually just feed it your parameters here. Sometimes I hate autocomplete. Sometimes I like it. And then we can do gs dot user ID. And then that field is, well, we got profile user. Perfect. So let's see how that works for us. User. Then we'll do that. I should probably declare var answer equals false up here somewhere. Oh my God. Typing on a Monday is hard. That should do it, right? Theoretically speaking, that should do it. We can always run it in a background script to try it out before. And then gs.info answer Fine, semicolon. Oh my God, nope. User ID is not allowed. What'd I do? All right. Get
Earl
user
said,
ID.
got to replace like 8 with your GR profile. I don't know if that was
What's
directed
that?
at you or not.
What did I do? Got to replace like 8 with your gr.profile. Line 7. Oh, yes. Thanks, Earl. Get unique. Can I do get unique? True. Dun da da. That should do it. Okay. Did that do it? Nope. Get unique value. I swear I copied that from over there, but that should be right. Now let's see. Oh wait, Alan's trick. Never mind. Yeah, Alan's trick. That's pretty handy. I'm going to use that more often. Now let's see if your user criteria worked or if that works for you. Still hiding it.
Still hiding it. It's always good to do the product manager. Let's just restart it and see if that fixes it.
Oh, yeah. That'll do it.
Doesn't look like it.
Dang it. So let's see. It should be returning false answer. Does it need to be in a function? It should be okay in a function instead of a self-execute or outside of a function, right? Can you try it again? Please.
Yeah, that's easy. Pull to refresh.
Dang. Okay. Did I do that again? I did. Holy smokes. Get user ID. Try again.
Not yet.
It's returning true for me. Let's put it back in. Does it need to be in a self-executing function? I guess is another question. Like a business rule.
Well, isn't what you're doing right now, isn't that what we did to, didn't we use that for something else at Knowledge?
A user criteria, like a scripted user criteria?
No, we did a scripted UI rule, I think.
We had a UI rule, and I think we also scripted some of the redirects too. So remember we were scanning, we wanted to redirect. Yeah, we were doing some scripting with that.
Okay.
I put it in a self-executing function this time, and that didn't work either, huh? Well, we're going to have to dig into that one a bit more. That should work, unless, hold on, maybe it wants a return of answer instead of just answer being answer. Can you try it again? Nothing. Dang, okay. Okay, well, we're going to have to figure that out. We only got like 10 minutes left. We'll put that on our backlog of things to work on. Do you want to check out something else while we still have some time?
Yeah, I think we can get a good chunk of the card status put together.
Okay.
But I think the end result is we're going to have to also figure out a way to show hide it based on status as well. Because again, like once you've got your card, we don't need that floating around in the.
Yeah. That's
but
fair.
Just to get the bones put together, right?
Yeah.
What I was thinking of again is we have on the home screen here, we can drop in a section above recently collected cards that'll just give you a single card there that tells you the status. So what we'll do is, again, we'll start here. We're on our landing page. I'm going to create a new section, and this will be a record section. Again, for folks who maybe don't know, record section is kind of what we have here, where you can show a preview of the record in question. That way you can see it right there. You don't have to drill down into anything. So we're going to hit new record section, and then record sections use list screens to display the content. So we'll call this one card status. We're only going to want to show one item. So I said max items display to 1, but we'll also take care of that in the query that we put together. And I'm going to leave all this other stuff the same as it is for now, and maybe we'll come back and play with like card size and orientation and things like that. But what we need to do is now create a mobile list screen that returns your profile record information. Because again, what we want to key off of, if this is my profile, we want to be keying off of this state field for the status of your card. So I'm going to create a list screen, and we'll just call this card status for now. Create my data query. This is going to be off of card status data item. I'm going to name that. And the table is our profile table, which I'm going to copy from over here. So that table, and I can build my data query right here. So we know we want the, how do we do this before? Actually, I take it back. We don't need to build a data query because we have one already, which provides the return for this screen, showing my card.
Okay.
Although that's built off the scan activity, I think.
Which one? Oh,
The data query that returns this, I think is, no, it might not be. Let me look. My card. Yeah, my card data item. Okay. And we're going to want to create a new card for this. Card view anyway. So I hit create new card, and this takes me into mobile card builder, which we have an upgrade available. I'm just going to take one of our starter templates, and we really just want to show, probably just want to show one field. So I'm not going to, we have 5 minutes. I'm going to do this quickly.
Okay.
we might come back and like clean up the visuals and things like that. But this is meta right here, right? This is a mobile card to show the status of your collector card. Save that, and then what we want is we want to just show the state field, right? And again, I got a lot of options here. We could show a whole bunch of information about how long ago you submitted it, maybe even show your avatar that you chose, that sort of stuff. But for now, we're just going to make it quick and dirty, simple. We want to map to the state field, and we'll save that. Close the bridge there. So I've got the data item, I've got the card status, and now I'm just going to go ahead and create my list screen, right, which puts it back into the record section we were already working on. See the preview of what you would get there, which that looks good because for me, the status would be complete. We'll save that, and let me make sure I have that in the right location. Make that 16 in order. And now, okay, so we see, again, we'll clean up these visuals before before the next event, but that's the status of my card. If I come in and let's say my status was,
The big
we'll
one
just
is
say,
like rejected, right? Like
yeah,
pending review. And then I think Alan is working on the rejection side
okay.
of what we're doing with that. Yeah.
But again, if my state was pending review, you'd see the state there. So we can flesh this out also to have more, depending on what Alan adds in,
Yeah.
we could,
It could be color coded too. So if it's a
yep,
rejected one, you could, do
yep, we
that.
could
We'll
put
also
UI rules in for that. We could always drop in the avatar so they can see the avatar there while it's in process.
yeah.
But then, so you could see that you pull to refresh, you'll see the status is updating. And then once it's complete, because again, the way the app works today, this show my card, we have a status there that says like your card's not ready. But then once you can see this card and you're incomplete, we'd want to hide this section at some point.
Yeah.
So I think that's, and again, that'd be a user criteria thing for us to look at.
Not scripted this time.
Not scripted.
I mean, maybe I don't know.
But I think for all of that, we would have to script it, right? I think that's the only way to do something off of like a table status as opposed to being unless we wanted to go like set up assignment groups that are then based on those types of things. But that's a whole different approach.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. Yeah, I was looking at other user criteria. It does look like it needs like an answer variable, and that's what it's keying off of. But all the other scripted ones that are kind of out of the box, they're not. Oh no, that one's got it. They use answers. I'm gonna have to tinker with that. But there was some questions about a next part. So we will be doing these streams every couple of weeks. And we'll probably work a lot on C3 with mobile. 2 weeks from now, I'm actually going to be in India for CreatorCon India. So if you're in India, sign up to go to a CreatorCon. So we'll see how all of that works out. But right now, code is not in GitHub. I don't know that there's plans to do that. We get in kind of big trouble for posting ServiceNow code in public repos, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. All right, David, well, we have like a minute and a half left. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about real quick before we wrap?
No, I don't think so. Well, I take it back. The final shameless plug that I'll call out.
Plug away.
Right, we built this mobile app for knowledge. Kristy and I did almost all of this together. I am a product manager. I am not a developer. I have never been a developer. But I was able to help build a bulk of this because of Mobile App Builder and because our mobile platform is a low code, almost fully no code platform. Like there are some things, obviously you saw us trying to do scripting for user criteria. We use scripting on some of the functions, things like that. But the majority of this is just built with metadata on the ServiceNow platform and built by a product manager in a lot of it. So, it takes a little bit to get used to the verbiage as we were discussing earlier. But if you learn that verbiage, I think building on our platform is easy and a lot of fun.
I agree. I like it. That's why I want to highlight more of the local building tools like Mobile App Builder. So look forward to doing more on the stream as well. And with that, I guess we'll wrap. So thank you everybody for coming. Again, a couple more weeks, we'll do another one of these, hopefully, if I can make it work in India, but you'll have Earls and Travis's as well between now and then. But yeah, thanks everybody for coming, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.